Hi everyone. This week in Trio Praising Parents, we're bringing the spotlight into our relationship with teens and what it means to parent teenagers. Because it's completely different. We really need to understand that your parenting game needs to entirely change based on the age and where your children are at. When they're young, when they're toddlers, when they're babies, we need to parent in a particular manner. And I like to call that parenting the coach parenting. You're the coach, you're in the field with them, you're doing things with them. But as they grow older, we need to become the cheerleaders, where we just need to cheer them and stop advising and stop telling. Hi Dia, that's my team joining us on the live. And we need to instill in them that sense of confidence of they're fine and they're going to be fine and they don't need to perform to be a particular way. I was working with an individual today. He's 25 years old, and even at 25 he is constantly searching for that validation he feels he never got from his parents, and he's trying to do various things, jump through various hoops to try to get that validation, but it just doesn't seem to be coming because it's missing in the one place where it could come with so much more ease, and that is in his parenting, from his parents. So that's how powerful and that's how omnipresent this relationship of becoming a cheerleader is. And it's very hard for us as parents to do that because as parents we're designed to feel like I have to teach, I have to guide, I have to lead. But what if you don't do that? And what would it look like? What if you broke barriers, you broke standard definitions? I just finished a call with a mom who talked about just the extreme guilt she still feels for putting herself first and walking away from a toxic relationship where she's constantly feeling bogged down with these various feelings of guilt. And really, how much are we going to keep making room for that instead of leading with authenticity, with love, with joy, because things don't have to always be so hard. So I have a lot of pleasure to announce the guest we have today. She's still to join us. She's not yet here, but hopefully she'll join us soon. She is a domestic abuse survivor, and she decided to leave at a time when she felt most powerless and most helpless with a really small young boy in tow. I first met her about 5 years ago, where she came up to me and she said, I'm an advocate for it because I've lived through it. I know what it means to have been in that position, and I just want other people to know that this is what it looks like on the other side, and this is beauty, it's power, it's strength, it's perseverance, and it's confidence. She's also been featured in Humans of Bombay, and she was recently telling me that they picked up this story from 5 years ago, and every day she keeps getting calls to inspire people, because that's what we need today. We need these inspiring stories because we're too caught up in these normative discourses where there's only one box and we have to fit it. There's this right parenting and there's this wrong parenting. There's this right everything humaning and there's this wrong. And what if there doesn't have to be? What if there just has to be yours, and own it and enjoy it and be it? So I see her? No, we're still waiting for her to join us. I'm just going to check with her otherwise. But for those of you who are here, I would love to know, what do you feel about this, and how does this idea, this topic make you feel about what we need to do in our parenting and what it means to be able to free ourselves from those boundaries of what should be and the guilt of not being able to be that. Just checking with her. I've messaged her. Hopefully I'll hear back soon. And there she is. Hi, Zaaria. I'm just inviting you. Okay, she was having some network issues, but I think she should be with us. And she is. Hi.
Hi, can you see me
Thank you for
now?
joining. Yes, I can. I
Most
can.
welcome.
Great, Zaria. So happy you could join us, overcoming your network issues and whatnot.
Sorry, yeah, it was just a network issue. There was nothing else.
That's fine.
How have
That's
you been?
fine.
It's so
I
nice to
have to
finally see you
admit, the
again.
last time I did this beautiful live and my battery died and we lost the live. So I am guilty of far more than the
No, no,
network issue. And
no,
today
no.
my phone is fully charged.
It reminds of because I've been back to back at work and I'm literally just like ran home right now. But
Yeah.
nice to meet another
Yeah.
fellow JBite after years. I remember you guys. I remember you because I was a few batches younger, so like vaguely remember all the tall girls playing basketball. It was just such a
Oh
good
my
time.
God. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I was the bad one because I have like this poor arm. I can't throw.
that's
And
still.
like when we had, remember the PE exam and you had to be
Yeah,
able to throw the
throw the
throw
ball.
ball over the net and the whole
Yes,
class would cheer for me because they'd be like, Megha can't throw. But isn't that amazingly representative of what we need when we have to do something that's really
ex
hard? A
exactly,
village that cheers
exactly.
us.
100%. I remember every time in GB, it's like you had to do it. Like Miss Darsha would not take no for an answer. Like you had, and I tell my son the same thing now. Like he's in the 10th standard, and he'll have these excuses for like little things, and I'm like, no, you have to do it. Like we are, like he's giving his balls. I can't believe he's giving his balls. Like I'm just like getting goosebumps right now. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, Mohammed, you have to do it. He's like, yeah, but I can't paint. Like, you like painting. I'm like, no, you have to do it because even I also used to initially struggle with Miss Tembe while drawing, and and Miss Tembe used to be really after me. She's like, I know you have it in you. And she would not even call me, like, she would not call me by my name. She'd call me the last three letters. Like, she would only call me Ria. Like, she had changed my name to Ria. So she's like, no, I feel like the Ria in you is going to work. So pretty much, that's how it is.
That's amazing. So, what is it like parenting a teenager, and how do you think that you're
Um,
able to get this relationship, which clearly you have with him?
so I think like when he kind of like hit like 13 was like these raging hormones of like everything was a no or not cool enough. Even once I had gone to pick him up from school and he was like, don't kiss me in front of everyone. Like, don't come and hug me and all. And I'm like, it's sports day and I'm cheering for you and like you won a medal. Like, why can't I come and hug you? And it didn't hit me that he actually thought I was like according to him back then, like an uncool mom. And I'm like, hello, I'm the coolest mom. Like, what are you saying? So, that's when I was like, okay, the teen phase where you don't want your parents around, you want to be like, oh, I'm too cool. And that's when it set in that he's becoming a teenager and I just have to accept it that I can't just cuddle him and kiss him. And it was fine. I was okay because I've been a teenager. And then being a teenager from JB, it was always like, it was too much.
A
You know
lot,
what I'm talking about.
of course. But that's
Yeah,
also because we were allowed to be that, right? I mean, I feel like that environment, sometimes it, of course, got toxic, but it also enabled a lot of freedom of thinking and trying. And I feel I so agree with you because every time people start getting scared, oh, but teenagers do this, and I'm like, yeah, हमने भी तो किया था. What is the big deal? Why can't we be
exactly.
more open, accepting, and allowing of these things that
100%.
because if you've not been forced to be a particular way, you know that bouncing off the edge and doing these things are part and parcel of it. And what you
Hun-
really need is that warmth and acceptance.
Yeah, 100%. And talking about toxic, I feel like at least when I was a teenager while growing up, many things there was nothing like the word used toxic or like this person is toxic or this conversation is toxic or this environment is toxic. It was either a yes or a no.
And that's toxic.
Impressions that were yeah, that could be toxic for us. And I feel like our kids now, I don't remember your kids' ages, but I'm sure they're a little relatively a little around Muhammad's age, they're 15 or they're a little younger.
They're
I
11
don't,
and 14.
yeah,
11 and
11 and
14.
14, and roughly. Now, like, if you tell them no, they always have a question as to, "But why are you telling me no? Like, what's your reason for telling me no?" Like, you need to give them like a whole list as to why you're telling them no or why you're asking them to do something. And with social media and stuff, I feel like it's slightly more like you need to give them an answer, because usually when we were younger, parents would hide things. And me being a single mom, I literally had to be very open about everything. I couldn't have, like, say, another child who must have heard from his parents come and tell something to my son on a DL saying, "Oh, are you a single parent son, or are your parents divorced, or was your father like this?" I couldn't do that. I had to be clear with him upfront that, hey, this is our normal, and this is what normal is for us. So tomorrow, if anyone tells you anything, be like, yeah, so. And his attitude has become like he literally goes everywhere, and anyone just ask him like, oh, what does your dad do? Because not everyone knows. I'm still talking about, like, say, 5 years back. Not many people knew of my situation, or yeah, they just knew vaguely, not like the intensity of what it was. And he very upfront says, like, I don't know where my father is. Like, I'm sorry. Any other question you can ask me, but this, my parents are divorced, and that's it. He just leaves it to that. And there's no
That's good.
afterthought of feeling like, oh my God, I don't have one parent, because these are things I feel like we as humans have made it. Like
Yeah.
like a normal, a happy, a functional family is two parents, children, two set of grandparents. But unfortunately, it's not. For me, I know for a fact raising my son in that atmosphere was just nothing but toxic. And he wouldn't be the person that he is today. He would probably be someone who disrespects women, disrespects me as a mom, disrespects the things I do for him, values, because I know the environment that I was with that person, and definitely cannot raise my son in an environment that's going to disrespect me or my siblings or any women in general.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you think gave you this steadiness of thought? Because it's clearly, I mean, was I don't think it was normal to be able to just get out there and say, you know what, this is our reality, let's own it. I'm sure it was a process. What allowed you to be able to stand up for that? Because you didn't know how it's going to turn out. Because then you have all these normal discourses say your child will have this will happen, that will happen if you don't show this kind of stability. So, what gave you that confidence?
So the thing is that I knew that my ex-husband is not just crazy, he's like really, really crazy. And it was not a normal place for me to raise my child in. And when I was fighting his custody, also, my main aim was, how can a part of me, and I don't even say part of me, I literally call him whole of me. How can my whole being literally be someone like this man? Like, in my head, it was a constant thing. Like, I cannot tomorrow have like, oh, Zaria's son did this, or he, raised his hand, or he hit somebody, or he spoke bad. Like, now also when he's a little bit like naughty, it kind of like irks me, saying, okay, don't say that, because I don't know how the opposite person would react to him. So in my head, I was like, the stability that I have to give my son has to come because I have to be strong as a parent. Like, for me, he's gonna be somebody who will shine. And that's exactly what happened. I told him, literally, I said, Muhammad, we belong to this setup, and this is how it's going to be. And in my head, it's constantly be like, you cannot be that crazy, aggressive, angry person, because I'm not that as a person. And I literally wanted him to be a replica. So that steadiness almost came from the fact that he cannot be there. He cannot be that person. So I had
Oh,
to, yeah,
what I'm
sorry,
also
tell me.
hearing is that there was a lot of steadiness in you where you didn't think you belonged with that person either, where you didn't take on the blame. Because a lot of people who experience domestic abuse start to blame themselves and start thinking, if only I spoke like this, if only I did this, if only I made what he likes just the way he likes it, or whatever it is. They start to internalize and diminish themselves. So
So
breaking out of that means you shown.
So what you're saying is, oh, again, it's 15 years back. It's been exactly 15 years. Back then, you're seeing a very stable, a very worked on Zaria right now, which I keep
Of
telling people because
course.
I get so many DMs saying that, but how are you fine? I'm like, what happened was 15 years back. I've come a long way through. I worked really hard on myself, and the stability comes from working hard because I was like, I cannot put myself in that dark space. So the stability is much, basically, it's been a very long time, and that's how I am here.
And it keeps
But
requiring work, right?
it does.
Doesn't
It
stop.
100% does. And I remember his pediatrician had told me because I had lost a lot of weight. Like I was 20 kgs thinner than this after my son was born. And he's like, in order to have a happy child, the mother has to be happy first. And if you're gonna be unhappy and sad about your situation or whatever is going on with you, because that time was not so much detail. He's like, whatever's going on with you, your child is always gonna be unhappy. And I didn't want my child to be unhappy because I'm giving him my 100%. If I would
Mm.
given him only a bit of it or left him on maids to take care of, like every single friend of mine probably has a nanny now. I had no nannies. I had no help, nothing. It was my mom, it was my sister. But again, I was like 100% present while he was growing up. So for me, it was like I have to make sure that I'm sort of like balanced here in order for him to be 100% balanced.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. And it sounds like
Thank
that voice of that pediatrician allowed you to feel that, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I had a lot of support, honestly, all those years. Like I literally thank every single person that's like come in my life in the past 10 years because I was the only single parent that I even knew of. Now there are a lot many, unfortunately, but I was the only single parent and I had to be like, I'm putting in so much of an effort. So tomorrow I don't want a third person coming and telling me, oh, he's like that because his dad was like that. Hello, there's a whole person who's taken care of him. I put my life on hold to take care of this child
Yeah,
in every way
absolutely.
possible. So no one dare tell me or him that, oh, he's done this, or because his father was like that, because we don't even use that term. It does not exist for us.
I love that. I love the strength and the
Thank you.
power and everything. And I can't forget the strength and the power it took you to just come to me in that school event randomly and say, look, this is what I do. And I'd love to speak about it. And I was like, wow. I was like, I really want to be able to give you that space to speak about it because, again, I be able to go up to literally anybody and own it, right?
Sorry, I lost you for 5 seconds. Sorry, what were you saying? Yeah,
I'm saying that the importance of being able to go up and say, this is who I am and this is what I want. And I want to lead this pack. I
I
want
think
to
this is
talk
better.
about this.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I think it's
That's okay. Is it working now?
yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's frozen again. Okay, while we're waiting for Zaaria to be able to join us again, if she's able to join us again, I hope she is. I think what's standing out very clear is the importance of acceptance and the importance of just confidence, because that comes from acceptance. Like she said, it's taken a lot of people to give her that space. It's taken a lot for her to be able to be this person. Yeah, we have her joining back. And once we lead with that,
Okay.
once we lead, hi, welcome back.
Hi.
I
Sorry.
was I was saying that it's a testimony to that power and what you broke out of and what you stand for, that you were even able to come up to me in that crowded auditorium that day and say, hey, this is who I am, that this is what I want to talk about, and I'd love for you to do it. Unfortunately, we didn't do that event again, otherwise you were totally on that list. But I feel, don't you think that like at least I feel that uh, our school and that fearlessness that it taught us, and that power to, like Miss Larisha, she would just say, "Who said you can't do it? Go do it." And we never understood this difference between boy,
True.
girl, right, wrong. We just were told, follow your heart. Like I joke about it to everyone. My mom put me in JD thinking it's a girls' school. And then she realized many years later it was a feminist school. And she
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was.
what did I do?
Exactly. And then the reason why I even remember why I had approached you, because I remember when you were standing on the stage and you were just like going flashback and like talking about things, and in my head I was like, she's so amazing, like I want to be that person who could. And I had never done a whole speech then. I'd only done like a 20-minute impromptu video because of a friend had just released the Humans of Bombay book. And I was watching you and I was like, she's speaking so well and she's like so confident and she's like speaking for women and how we should, like over times be like taking care of ourselves more than depending on other people. I can't remember the speech exactly what it was, but I just felt like so connected, even though you were like batches way ahead of me. But that whole JB connection, like what you were thinking, all of
Absolutely.
us were sitting out there and thinking about it
Because that
and
was the
feeling.
value we were brought up with.
Exactly. And I remember you were like you wanted to address younger generations that are passing out from our school to be stronger. And when we were younger, we never had like a mental health conversation or a situation when it came to well-being of the mind. It was just basically science, culture, arts. We were more towards that, which also I think just made us grow up very differently. And when you were talking about just how to the overall development, and I was like, I want to be there talking to our younger generation about mental health, about relationships in terms of like getting married at a younger age or not getting married, just like a bunch of things. So I know why I had approached you then.
Well, I remember it still today. We were by the Bhelwala.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And outside the art room,
Yeah,
mysterious
and
room.
it still took me courage to come and talk to you. And I still remember I was like, should I go and tell her, or will it be weird? Or but
Not
like,
at all.
I mean, what sense would it make about me being a single parent actually help anyone? And 5 years down the line, now I believe people are feeling really helped. And this was
Yes.
much
And
before I
and
got my.
and it helped me then, because I
I'm
felt
glad.
that that is the power of what we want to do, to have these stories come out. And that was the whole purpose of it. I swear your name was on the next list, and then the damn pandemic hit.
We'll do once in school
We
once school
will, we
opens.
will, we will. It
Yes,
will
definitely.
happen. It
I
will.
hope we have a bunch of JBIs out here watching us.
Yes, I hope so. Ever forward. I hope they're
Ever
watching, getting
forward.
inspired, and inspiring
Yes,
people around them, because that's what happens, right? I have to just quickly, I
100%.
know you have to go, so I'm going
No,
to
no,
end
it's
this.
good. Yes.
You're good? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm good.
Um, you tell me when you do, because I can ramble
Yeah.
on. But I had this
I think
one.
every JBI can ramble on.
I had this 16-year-old tell me, she was like, you know what, our generation looks at mental health very differently from your generation. And we believe we can talk about it, we believe we can do things about it, and we believe in getting help. And I just listened to her, and my mind went, whoa, isn't that amazing? Because I have right now these 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds working through those kinks from their emotional present. And I I'm just amazed at the possibilities of this, what it will do for them in the future. Because it means that they're not going to have these baggages to deal with in their 20s and
100%.
30s and 40s. They've dealt with it at the
I
source.
at the young, exactly, exactly. And I really wish, like, I wasn't the most. I can't say academically. I was like a 80, sorry, a 95% student because I was more towards art and I scored really well in art and anything to do with like creative forms. But I still like till now. I remember Miss Cooper. These teachers came much later. They were like,
Yeah.
your grades are so less. You're not working hard. I can't buy hard. Like I
Yeah.
I literally suck at by hearting. Like I can't.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, but miss, I know my work. Like, I have studied and I have done this.
Mm.
And now like the same teachers, like I get messages in my phone and Facebook on inbox on birthdays. You are amazing. You have made JB so proud. And I remember Miss Rosina messaged me this. This was like on my birthday. I shed tears down. I was like, I can't believe it. She's not even saying you made teachers proud. She's like, you made the whole JB proud of what you have done for women in our country. And I think that was just like, I won all those certificates and medals that we had to win standing in school for
Yeah.
best student, best student,
Yeah.
and this.
Yeah. Because you proved it.
But
You proved it through
yeah,
action, right? But
yeah.
tell me also that having had that kind of teenage years yourself and then doing all this work with yourself, how do you think you changed yourself as a parent with your son so the pattern wouldn't continue? Because unfortunately, the intuition is to do what was done to us, right? And we don't necessarily pause to see, is this the right thing? Should I be doing it? And what do I need to do to break that pattern?
So mostly if I'm trying to tell my son or other kids, yes or a no, I always put myself as a 15-year-old I was, because I still feel like I'm that 15-year-old and I haven't become this 35-year-old. So I always be like, how would I react to it? Because for me, JB was amazing. I loved school, but we also had the good girls, the mean girls, the bossy girls, the
Absolutely.
spoiled girls. It was like a mixture of these different personalities from different households. And there was nothing like, no, even though we weren't bullies, but at some point you always felt like you were getting
Very
bullied,
much.
yeah, somewhere. And I grew up at some point not fitting in, but then I was fitting in. So, like a mixture of things. So I always like think about like how would I feel if I was that 15-year-old? And that's how I 90% of the time like deal with him. Whether it's getting a new pair of shoes or new bag. I remember in school on Fridays, there were times where like there were girls who came from families who never repeat clothes. But for us, it was so normal to
Yeah.
repeat clothes, right? It was not like, oh, if you wore this on this Friday means you cannot wear it. And I still remember um, one girl had passed a comment that, oh, didn't you like wear this like last Friday? And as a 13-year-old in my head, I was like, does that make a difference if I wear the same t-shirt? I don't think it makes a difference. So, and I never understood this mentality till much later that
Yeah.
repeating clothes is not cool.
Friday
No,
dress
I
as
think
you like was not easy.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was, like these things. So when my son now comes and say, "Oh, but that friend of mine has this pair of shoes and this," I was like, they might have it, and it's not like you also cannot have it, but you have to earn towards it. Like you have to, in a way, be like, no, I have to do this in order to get this. Like there has to be a balance. While growing up,
Mm.
if I had to tell my parents that, they would be like, why do you need it? You already have so much, right? No, not right now.
Mm.
No, no. Even though I think my son still thinks I say no, 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 but I still try to keep that balance.
It's okay.
So I pretty much see him. I see me in that 15-year-old.
I think that's so important to be able to see yourself as that team and notice that you have had those feelings, and that doesn't mean it defines you. It doesn't mean that you'll always be this insecure person who can't repeat clothes or who doesn't feel like she knows how to dress up. But it means at that point you're feeling that. And
Yeah,
puri zindagi hai.
ex exactly at that point. And I think I grew up being a very insecure kid for some odd reason. I don't even know what it was. Like my sister's like, I can't believe you were an insecure teenager. And I was like, no, I was very insecure. Now I might not look like that, but while growing up, it was difficult growing up between some of the very, very cool girls. And we still joke about it. Like this is a separate bunch of us, GB, not reaching the top cool girls who discuss about this
Yeah, but
at
there was
some
a
point.
strong hierarchy. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, even people on top of the hierarchy didn't feel like they were on top of the hierarchy because you're constantly, and that's what hierarchies do, right? They
True.
constantly make you want to be better and bigger or fearful of what will happen when I
Yeah.
fall down and will I be able to hold on to this space. And I think so many parents today forget that their children are struggling with that and social hierarchies are a real thing when you're a teen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they are.
instead of, rubbishing it and saying, so I had another parent just yesterday who talked about, her son has neurodiversity, he's neurodiverse. So he struggles with concentration and academics, and he's also giving his boards like your son. And apparently there are some concessions being provided because of
Yeah,
pandemic.
yeah, 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 they are.
And the mom is like, but he's being given these concessions and he should be able to make the most of it. And I asked her, I was like, but they're being given because we know that this environment is not right. So your adult brain is able to rationalize and say make the most of it, but his neurodiverse brain is struggling. And what would it look like to remember? Because she's told me
Yeah.
also that I was a shit student, I hated it. Why don't we
I
just make
really,
those connections?
I really feel that. And also, unfortunately, like I remember Ms. Zaaria used to say that our system of studying in our country is shit. Like,
Yeah,
no offense, but it's crap. Like, we are putting our kids who are going through these different hormonal changes and, like, understanding themselves. You're making them, you're pressurizing them with history and geography and math that they don't want to care about. Like, how much did
yeah.
we think about survey maps now, unless you were actually getting into doing something? You had survey
And the
maps with
hours
Miss
we
Stevens?
spent coloring, of course.
With Miss Stevens?
Of course.
I think Miss Stevens was our common name.
Gwen.
Exactly. Like the bundles of rules. I think my mom has still kept my survey map because
No
she's like, we spent,
way.
there's a whole bundle of my 10th standard stuff. She's like, no, we spent lots behind these stupid survey maps. They let them be here. I was like, yeah, keep them as a memory of my passing out
That's so
of
funny.
GMP.
Yeah.
So,
And she's
yeah.
happily in Canada now. So much for her
Yeah, I know.
survey maps of India.
I spoke to her yesterday because she sent me a lovely message for my son's birthday. And
Yeah.
I was like, Miss, I wish you could just see him because she was in St. Mary's. I remember she left
Yeah.
St. Mary's because the
Yeah.
boys were like losing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Someone from
Wonderful.
JB has messaged, yeah, never ever
Yes.
seen a survey map after ICSC. Lucky you, because we every JB I think till 2000 and maybe 10 knows what a survey map is.
Oh, really? They stopped it
So
after that?
yeah, I think they stopped it after that.
Okay, I don't know.
Lucky
My
you all,
kids
you
are
didn't have to
not in
study.
ICSE now, so I have no
Yeah.
idea.
But
But
yes,
now everyone will be like, just open Google Maps, damn it.
eh, just yeah, my son, like anything he wants to learn, he literally has YouTube. He doesn't even need me. Like, when you sit with your
Exactly.
kids and you teach them something, he literally knows more than me. And
Mm,
I'm just like, okay,
mm,
you just know.
mm. Yeah. But see,
Someone
that's
just
the
like,
thing. Just like you said, the relevance at that time, which was actually not even our time, but before that was okay, you have to study survey maps. And now, when time has changed, we're accepting to
sorry.
survey maps anymore. Just like that, even our parenting has to change, right? Because
Yeah,
the environment is
100%.
changing and everything is changing. I get so many parents saying, but we never had to do that. We didn't talk to our, we were never talked to about sex. We were never talked to in this way. We were never allowed to do these things. So why are you saying we should do it with our teens? We turned out fine. But the environment was
It
different. We
just
never
was
roamed around with
100%.
masks, but now we are,
Wow,
you know?
100%. So in Muhammad school, we used to have a counseling session for new age parents, like the Gen Z parents,
Yeah.
and the whole counseling was fully different. I remember I even like used to write down points every time we had a counselor coming in about how parenting right now has changed, and we have to evolve at times because everything around us has also evolved. The kids
Exactly.
have so much misinformation about so many things because of things being on social media that we need to tell them firsthand before they get any different kind of theories in their head, including when it comes to sex. Like, even though I have not openly spoken to my son about it, but in school they have a separate topic, mental health, and they have a
Yeah.
counselor, and the counselor talks to them, I think 2, 3 times a week about any issue that's happening in the world. And they literally love talking to her because they can talk to her about anything, and they know that this figure is not judging us, or this figure's not going to yell at us, this figure's not going to scream at us. If we go tell our parents, maybe they will. And I feel like the parents that would be coming to you, whose parents, whose kids are teens, must be a little older to me. I'm still
Yeah,
closer
for
to
sure.
like a generation wise, I'm still closer to my
Yeah.
son's age, so I do understand when he's
You've
feeling a
not
certain
forgotten.
way. Yeah, I'm not forgotten. Yeah, basically, I'm not forgotten.
Yeah.
And I would try to, like break down things and make him understand little things. Like even when it comes to like domestic violence and these kind of things, like I never knew what domestic violence was, which I sorry was trying to point out in the earlier conversation. I didn't even know it was happening to me. Like I had no idea. So I only got to know that there is something called domestic violence was after I left the marriage. And it's weird because it was that year that India had actually had an act called
Mm.
Domestic Violence Act that had passed in our country. Before that, till 2005, there was nothing like domestic violence in our own country. So
Yeah.
imagine how oblivious we were to
Yeah.
this certain act that happens all around the world for generations and generations.
Absolutely.
So these were things which I had to like, like make him understand and introduce that a lot of things over a period of time, including like suicide. There was that whole blue whale game that was
Yeah.
going on, which was scary, and my son didn't doesn't have access to like television. So whatever he sees is literally used to be on my laptop and where I was like monitoring what he watches because on Apple, you can sync and there's
Yeah.
parental
Yeah.
vision and all. So I would watch, I knew exactly what he was watching. And he comes home and he's like, what is this blue whale thing? And what is this
Mm.
boy cutting? And I was like, wait, how do you know about this news? He's like, no, this one particular boy in school was getting very upset. I think it triggered him or something. And then I sat down to explain to him about what it is and how you shouldn't do. If there's something bothering you, you talk to me. I think while we were growing up, something like suicide was like, oh, the person must be crazy.
Exactly.
That's how we would react to it.
Yeah.
Or when it came to we came to a divorce setup, the child has to be in a certain way. No, it's
Yeah.
not true.
We'll be like,
Parents
don't be
can
friends with so and so. He's
either
from a
don't be
divorced
friends
family.
or
Yeah.
this person is so awkward or oh
Yeah.
he's just become like this because his parents are divorced. No, these rules are all wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's I see it as a direct insult to me,
Yeah.
honestly, because I was
Yeah.
like, no, I have put in hard work. Single parent families put in a lot of hard work to raise their kids so that they don't feel unloved. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we think that love of two parents is what's going to make a child whole. It's not true at all. One happy parent is enough for your child to feel absolutely fine. And yeah, if you're blessed with two great parents, it's a bonus, but no, it's just not true.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not boring other people in the audience.
I think it's an important message. And what often happens is whether we have enough people signed in right now or not, I know a lot of people come back and listen to it. I know a lot
I'm
of people
glad.
who I work with, I'm able to point them into the direction because this is not about generic consumption. This is about healing for people who need it. That's the whole idea
100%.
behind it. So for me, this is beautiful, and I can
I'm
think of so
glad.
many people who will benefit from this conversation because
I'm
they're going to
so
get
glad.
messages right after. Please go
I'm glad.
watch. So
I'm
thank
glad.
you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Zaaria.
much for
Because this
having
is
me.
healing. This is healing.
Yes,
To hear these
100%.
stories, to know that I'm not the only one being gaslighted. There's somebody who's beautiful, awesome, amazing, standing in front of me, who's been there and is now able to be like, oh, yeah, it was there, but now that's not me.
Yeah,
And
100%.
just
And trust
as Varsha over here is saying that I'm in that situation and you're being an inspiration. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Like honestly, like if you ask any of my friends who's known me from childhood, who has seen me grow up, this was not me. This person I was an introvert, I was awkward, I couldn't talk to people. Like my whole matter, like my mom was like, you need to tell me what happened. Like you have to tell me what happened to you. And she's like, okay, if you cannot speak about it, write it. So I wrote 30 pages of those 9 months, and that actually became my what's it called? It became my
FIR?
his no, not FIR was different, like my case file to give it to the lawyer to be like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what happened and please read this back to back.
Yeah.
So 100% I hope this helps, and you just have to work
Yes.
on yourself and disconnect from the situation that you're in. That's the only way I am here. That's because of that. like disconnected myself from that
Yeah. And I
situation.
separate yourself. You're not that
Yeah,
person. You're
separate.
not that
Yeah.
situation. You're this person.
I'm not that situation because a lot of people mistaken me to be. It's like every time I talk about it, or there's an interview, which literally I only speak about the situation when I'm giving an interview. It's not in my regular day conversation with anybody till I don't meet somebody new. And there are a lot of people that do probably see me like stuck in that and also do pass nasty comments. Oh, why is she still talking about it? And in my head, I was like, why do you see advertisements on the
Yeah.
TV?
Because
Why? The
unfortunately, not
cat,
enough people are talking about it.
100%. And I
That's
was like,
it.
I wish someone
Someone
told
should
me
take
this.
the baton on.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish someone told me about this 15 years back. I wish I had 1 year to listen to like, hey, this is happening to me. I need help. There was nobody there back then. There was barely like 10 years who probably even understood, didn't know the gravity of it, just understood it. Anyhow, I guess I had to just be here so that more women
Yes,
would
you
get
did.
help.
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
I did the
Thank
good
you.
part of it. Most
Yes. And I'm
welcome.
so glad you do. And now you work in your family business, you're into
Yes.
logistics, very boring profession, but you do that.
Ah,
I've done that, so I know what it is.
that it pays the bills. It
It
pays
pays
the
the
bills.
bills.
Yes, I mean, I have to take care of myself. I'm not dependent on anybody else
And
other
we
than my
don't need
dad.
to be, right? We don't need to be.
100%.
Lovely.
100%.
Thank you. Thank
But
you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'd love to give you a big hug from there, but you're getting one from here.
Yay! And no, we're gonna do one JB talks with you again
Definitely. Definitely.
when
We should
things
get,
open up.
yes, definitely. We'll have one
We'll
properly
get
done in
women in
Seoul.
power, women who stood up for things. Hmm.
100%. It was lovely chatting with you, Megha.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. Lots of love to your kids.
Thank you.